It's that time again. Keen and Sabrina's second chapter is out, and that means I have to try it. At this point I'm way too deep into the rabbit hole to stop now. And to be honest, I'm quite hopeful for this series. I have been seeing a fair bit of improvement with every game I play from this dev. You can see a lot of things about the guy, but one thing he does do is listen to feedback. He fixed a lot of bugs and even added a few suggestions I made to the game. So will this positive streak continue with this second chapter? Let's find out. But first a small disclaimer, if you have not yet watched the first video I made about this game, I would suggest you do so, since I won't go over the basics again, and you'll miss some context, for what it's worth. Is that the options menu? Out of all the things that could have happened, this was not in my bingo card. I honestly expected for this bit to go on forever. Now I don't know if you did it just to make me shut up about it, but hey, I am not complaining. Anyway, let's just move on. Before starting the game, this time you can choose to enable or disable all battles. This is a welcome option, and small spoiler, it will come in handy towards the end. The chapter begins right where we left off, with Keen and friends making their way back to their dimension. Suddenly something that resembles a black hole appears, dropping off a kid, and then leaves. This character is a reference to another game from the same dev. Don't worry, I'll get to you eventually. Somebody says some cryptic stuff and sends a guy after them, but both of these characters never appear again in this chapter, so... The party arrives at the destination, but something isn't right. There's nobody in sight and there's an eerie silence. Proceeding further, the party is attacked by a living trash can. Yes, the skibidi toilets are back, and they work just the same they did in the original game. That means they are still very annoying to fight, even if they do feel a bit weaker here. Also, I know they're supposed to be a reference to the skibidi toilets, but they sound more like that Russian singer. They are not the only thing that's back. We are also back to eating shit to heal. Not only that, they come in different shapes and effects too. And we are also back to shitting our pants. Great. While I had hoped we wouldn't go back to this, we were warned these things would have come back, so there's nothing we can really do about it. After this first fight, we get into what can be considered a dungeon, even if a bit loosely. The dungeons in this game boil down to lots of empty rooms surrounded by walls, with items, enemies and traps scattered about. Your objective is to find a door to keep advancing to the next section of the dungeon, which most of the time is more of the same. Not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of how formulaic this dungeon design is. It doesn't feel like I'm exploring a destroyed city, I'm just moving around endless squares until I run into a randomly placed door. After reaching the end of the dungeon, the party is attacked by more skibidis, but are saved by 3 other wacky characters. Now we must activate a giant mech to repel the skibidi horde. Do you remember when skibidi toilets were actually popular? I remember. Now we have fucking Tung 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 Sahur, and honestly I don't know who's worse. After another uninspired dungeon, we reach the mech. But before activating it, we must face the first boss, with a very interesting design. For some reason, the party is locked inside the facility without food. What they resort to survive is eating excrements, and we are shown a very lovely image of Keen with a mouthful of crap. It's gonna be a long day. After this beginning section, we reach what will become the main hideout for this chapter. Like in the first chapter, every defeated party member will respawn here. But here we can also find this torch that replenishes all MPs for every party member. In this section we can find a lot of minigames. They don't serve much purpose outside of advancing time, but it's honestly kind of impressive that these minigames exist inside the RPG Maker. Let's take a small break to talk about the returning mechanic from the original game. The Libido Mechanic is something I wish didn't exist. This is probably the most unfun mechanic to deal with in the entire game. How it works is almost every character has this libido meter that slowly fills up with time. If it maxes out, that party member will leave to, I don't know, jerk off, I guess. You can lower it with items, but the main way you are supposed to deal with this is with the relationship tab. Every character has an assigned gender and sexuality, so you have to match them correctly. The problem with this is there's no way to matchmake the majority of the cast. Especially the really good party members are very hard, if not impossible to please. Please tell me how the fuck I'm supposed to deal with 3 horny men when all I have is 2 women, one of them is a lesbian and the other doesn't even like sex. There are no straight women in this game. Is this some kind of veiled social message? I'm sorry, but this mechanic fucking sucks and I wish it wasn't part of the game. You're probably thinking something like, well, if the party member just leaves, can't you just go back to the hideout to get them back? Well, yes, you can do that, but don't worry. You'll see soon enough why this is a gigantic pain in the ass. After a training arc, we are attacked by the Monster & Co guys, like in the original, for no apparent reason. Other random things happen, one of them being Keen springing it, but we do get more moments between Keen and Sabrini. And I have to say, why the fuck are these two even dating? Keen is an horny simp, and Sabrini has no attraction towards him. She doesn't even like men. Why are they together? This relationship feels forced and kinda toxic in some ways. I don't really have much time to worry about it, as we are kidnapped by Granny. Yes, again, this part is mystical. Technically, you need to complete some puzzles to leave, I think. But after restarting, I go interact with the exit door, and for some reason it immediately triggers the boss fight against Granny, and after winning, the game lets me just skip this section. Is this a bug? Probably. Am I going to do this part the intended way?
No.
We are reaching the end of the chapter, but not after we see Sabrini getting an abortion. No, I'm not joking. Anyway, Keen's device gets possessed by somebody, and he informs him that something weird is going on underground. After digging a hole, we reach the last part of the game, and here a lot of the problems with the game start getting on my nerves. You need to make 3 different parties to descend underground, doing the usual dungeon. Problem is, most of the cast is composed by joke characters. Most of them are absolutely worthless in a fight, and every party has to defeat several bosses before completing the dungeon. And the libido mechanic does not help, basically forcing you to speedrun or risk losing some party members. This section does not test the player's skill, it tests their patience, and I am not a very patient man. Suffice to say, I basically skipped all the bosses by enabling story mode. After this section, there are 2 back-to-back boss fights that are piece easy compared to what you would have endured to get here, even if in lore they are supposed to be galaxy-level threats. And now is the very cherry on top. The very last section of the game is pure torture. You have to choose one party to go against 5 bosses back to back without saving, while being chased by a clown that insta-kills you if he touches you, and if you dare to lose a party member, it's game over, because a girl immediately joins your party and turns you into a spiral Junji Ito style. That means you are on a timer. If a party member leaves due to libido, you lose. And as an extra fuck you, this is the only section of the game where those torches that replenish your MPs would have been useful. But of course, they are nowhere to be seen. You also don't even get equipment for defeating bosses, like in the first chapter, leaving you completely empty-handed. And so I decided to also skip this last part, to get this over with. In the end, Keen's device gets destroyed, and they are forced to retreat, ending part 1 of chapter 2. What can I say? I am very disappointed with this chapter. It feels super rushed. There are so many things missing, like the guy that resets your card game losses. No joke, I was stuck at 2 losses for the entire duration of the chapter, since I only found the item that reduces them by 1 at the end of the game. You don't get any equipment from bosses, hell, you don't even get equipment at all. There's only one vendor that sells very basic weapons. The 5 senses system is barely used, a lot of the textures look weirdly low resolution. Again, it just looks like you wanted to put this out as soon as possible, and it hurt the game a lot. Speaking of the bosses, they either have no mechanics at all, or have the most obscure mechanics, where if you don't know what to do, which is very easy since there's never any sort of hint or explanation, the literal light of God deletes you in a nanosecond. Don't even get me started with the amount of gruesome images the game presents you. There are so many, and they are so over the top, they have the complete opposite effect you want them to have. It's literally the same problem Mortal Kombat had when their fatalities started getting so over the top violent that they basically became goofy and lame. Again, there is nothing wrong if you want your game to portray heavy themes and violence, but you gotta have some tact. Violence for the sake of shock value becomes stale really quick. Now, I know this is just part 1 of the chapter, but man, it feels like nothing really happened, with only a few scenes being really important. A lot of parts just feel like filler, and are very boring. The next part is supposed to be a tournament arc, and I love tournament arcs, so listen to me very carefully. If you fuck up the tournament arc, I'm gonna be extremely pissed. Again, I'm disappointed. I was hoping for improvements, since I felt like the first chapter was a step in the right direction. I guess we'll see. But for today, that's everything. And I'll see you guys next time.